What's up, everyone? Welcome into Bleacher Talk. I'm Claudia Collins alongside Jordan Spurgeon, and we are finally going to see the Open Division playoffs begin. So it is full-fledged playoff mode now. We've got Bruce Cooper with us for our quick pick segment. I'll give you a quick rundown of where things are at. Spurge is in the lead at 31-5. Coop, you are one game back at 30-6, and I am hopeless at 24-12, but it's okay. I'm going to keep rolling and doing our thing here. And I am going to go right into the first picks of the week because we're picking from 4A through the Open this week. So we've got one extra pick to get at. So let's start with Thunderbird at Arcadia. And Coop, you have the luxury of leading us off.
Well, look, Ray Brown, head coach over at Arcadia, certainly in the conversation for Coach of the Year. Perfect 10-0 regular season, and they started the playoffs with a 23-20 win over Coconino. So he sits at 11-0. Thunderbird, pretty good season, 8-2. Can't argue with that. They had a squeaker over Bradshaw Mountain in the opener of the first round of the playoffs. I believe it was 17-16, the final there. I'm going to take Thunderbird in a close one, 21-20.
Arcadia is undefeated this season. They beat a lot of teams very handedly. Their defense must be pretty solid. They've shut out 3 teams this year. And they just played a tough game against Coconino last week and won in the final minutes. And that for me is what's pushing me over the edge for Arcadia. It just kind of shows that they have this it's not over until it's over mentality. And clearly they're hungry for this. I'm going to take your score, but I'm going to take it 21-20 Arcadia.
Yeah, Arcadia has been loaded. I like the way they play the game. They really have a brotherhood over there that stems from the culture that Ray Brown has built. I mean, seeing them before the season, and I know we've had a chance to watch them a little bit this season as well. They just love playing for each other. They love playing for Coach Brown, and I think that goes a long, long way. I know Thunderbirds built a great culture. We got to see it last year being built a little bit with a Marine boot camp during summer ball and all of that, and obviously we're seeing the results of that now, but something just tells me Arcadia's got one of those magical seasons in them that gives them a chance to possibly get to the 4A state title game. So I'm going to roll with Arcadia Titans here, and I'm going to take them 27-21.
All right, this is going to be a fun matchup. ALA Gilbert North at Horizon. Spurge, you're going to start us off here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really, really fun game. I had the chance to see ALA Gilbert North for a half last week. They got off to a bit of a slow start, but by the end of the game, they were able to roll against Marana, and that offense is something special. Brandon Phelps, the real deal. University of Arizona getting the best wide receiver in the state. Horizon just has the full package. Special teams is lights out. Defense, phenomenal, especially in the trenches, and offensively, they can run the ball with the best of them. While I like what ALA Gilbert North has done this year, I'm going to take the Huskies in a close game, 27-24.
I'm kind of split here, but it's because I'm at a disadvantage, to be honest. I was super impressed with ALA Gilbert North the one time I got to see them. Their offense is just a force to be reckoned with. Their quarterback's done a great job. Obviously, every time we talk about them, it's Brandon Phelps, Titan Slate. I go back to the Higley game that I saw every time, and it's just that game was so much closer than the score actually led on. And I was just really impressed. They're an experienced team. I'm going to go 35-30 Gilbert North. What about you, Bruce?
Wow, yeah, you talked about it. I mean, hey, Connor White to Brandon Phelps. I mean, anybody to Brandon Phelps. I mean, yeah, you're going to light up the scoreboard. But gosh, you know what? I picked Horizon to be the 5A state champions, and I can't back out now. And so I'm going to ride with Andy Litton and his Huskies. And I agree. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. So give me Horizon 41, ALA Gilbert North 38.
All right, next matchup is Perry at Saguaro, and I'm just going to go ahead and say that I think whoever wins this one will win the 6A title. That's just how I see this matchup. Saguaro has easily had the toughest schedule in the state this season. They are so battle-tested. Their only losses are to Basha, Sierra Canyon, which is undefeated in California right now, Centennial, Liberty, and South Point Catholic. I think before this past week, I would have picked Perry, honestly, but I think just seeing how Saguaro is rolling, they are still experienced despite everything that they're experiencing that's new. So I think I have to pick Saguaro, even though I said Perry to win it all. I'm confused myself, but I'm gonna go. Let's go 35-27 for the SaberCats. All right, Coop.
Perry, I mean, God, they're the sentimental favorite for me, but if I had to, just honestly give my assessment of who I thought would win, it would be the Saguaro SaberCats. I just think that they have an awful lot of talent and getting a lot of people healthy. And Mason Bray is really starting to show why he's an emerging star at the position. So I too will take the Saguaro SaberCats. Give me Saguaro 35, 31 for Perry.
I'm so torn. Perry to me has that thing that you just can't put your finger on. And I know last week was close against Mountain Point, but they have it. And Saguaro healthy and rolling and rocking. You can't knock where the SaberCats are. I think Zach Hill's culture has not changed drastically from what it was with Jason Mons. I think they just played a tough schedule. Last year, they skated through the regular season because the schedule was so tough, and they ended up making the Open. This year, just a slight drop off, but it's not a knock. They had injuries. They had all these things happen to them, and here they are. And I've been going back and forth. Saguaro on paper, like you said, Coop, they're the team. You look at them, they should win. You look at Perry, you just can't quite put your thumb on it. And so at the risk of potentially losing the lead, I'm gonna stick with the Perry Pumas. I've been saying it for months that I can see them holding a gold ball in 6A. They've still got that magic. I'm gonna take Joseph Ortiz and his Pumas, a very tight game, 28-27.
All right, last matchup. Highland at Chandler. Coop.
I said it last week or a couple weeks ago. I just see Blake Heffron just turning the page in his evolution at quarterback there. And they just have so much talent. I mean, Khalil Valentine, I mean, he's healthy and he's a difference maker. I mean, he's a guy that could take it 80 yards on any given tote or possession. So I'm going to take Chandler again in a close one. Give me Chandler 24, Highland 21.
We had the chance to talk to Brock Farrell after they made the Open, and he made a good point that's kind of stuck with me. And I feel like I've been on the Highland train since before they beat Basha, where I felt like they're a team that can not only get in the Open, but win the Open. And I still believe that. But what Farrell told us was that they never played a complete game. He felt like they did not play a complete game against Basha, and against Chandler, obviously they did not play a complete game, and they almost beat Chandler. And I think Chandler has really been hitting their stride the last few weeks, and I really like what I see from Blake Heffron. I mean, he leads that offense to an elite level. Khalil Valentine, great out of the backfield, great when he lines up at receiver. But Highland's defense and ferocious play, I think, is going to be too much. The offense has really hit its stride. So I'm going to roll with the Hawks here over the Wolves. This is going to be the earliest loss the Wolves have had in the Open, I think. And it's not a knock on them. I just think Highland has it this year. They wanted to be in the Open. Here they are. Give me Highland 21, Chandler 17.
Okay, so far a split decision, which kind of explains the indecisiveness that I've been experiencing as well. For me, this is the game of the week, regardless of the result. I think it's going to be super back and forth and really competitive. Brock Farrell, though, we talked about having him on our Bleacher Talk Live, and the only word I can use to describe him, what he felt like being in the Open, was giddy. I mean, I feel like over the moon. Highland is like, we are finally here. What's interesting is on the flip side, like there's Chandler who has Open experience. It feels like you should pick the Wolves because they are just like Open division material year after year. The back half of the Wolves schedule was so tough and they performed. Their losses are to Basha and Centennial. I look at Chandler and I'm like, tons of D1 talent on Chandler. What I've learned throughout Quick Picks and my problem with recruiting roundup is that D1 talent does not always translate to how well it will go at the high school football level. And I just think for me, like you said about Perry, there's just this thing about Highland that I think it's their year, and I'm going to pick the Hawks to win this one. And I'm going to have them winning. Let's go 35-25.
Yeah, that's going to be the game of the week. So many amazing games. Second round is going to be so much fun. Coop, a lot on the line this week. You and I have a good chance to go back and forth in first place as we're only one game apart, and we had 3 games we picked differently. So going to be exciting as always. Stay tuned. Coming up next, more from Coop, Coop's Chronicles, coaches, and stories with their fathers. Welcome back to Bleacher Talk. I'm Jordan Spurgeon alongside Claudia Collins, and at Sports 360 AZ, storytelling is something that we take a lot of pride in. I've done a lot of really interesting stories. Claudia has done a lot of great stories. Someone who's been doing great stories around the Valley for decades at this point, Bruce Cooper, continues to bring the heat for playoff football. Him and Chris Peterson caught up with 3 head coaches who have lost their dads or father figures this year. Obviously, all of them were football dads or had a big part in their football lives. So a big impact was left on all of them. And all 3 of these guys are looking to lead their teams to state titles. So go ahead and take a look.
But at the end of the day, we are 1-0 in the postseason.
Joseph Ortiz is in his 2nd year as head coach at Perry High School. And he has the Pumas in the playoffs for the first time in 5 years.
Oh, yeah!
It's a joyous time for sure, but something is missing.
You had a passing in your family.
His grandfather, Eduardo Ramirez, who raised him, but passed away October 27th.
You know, he taught me how to fish. He took me up north. We traveled all of northern Arizona, saw all the landmarks in Arizona. We always grill on Sundays, and we'd be in the back patio, and it would just be me and him talking and hanging out, and we were super, super close. And the good thing is I got my final moments with him. I got about 30 minutes with him where he was still coherent and good, and Thursday the night before, so I had about 30 minutes, just me and him, and we talked about a lot of things. We said some things that meant a lot to me and meant a lot to him, and you know, we were able to say our goodbyes, so that meant a lot. I love you guys. I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for you. You guys got me through one of the hardest times of my life, and I appreciate that. Now it's my job to return and coach my ass off. I'm gonna, you know, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I told the kids I really appreciate them helping me get through one of the toughest times of my life. I know you're in a better spot, Pop, and I just know we love you. I miss you. I'm a coach tonight for you. Knowing that he's not here anymore, you know, I'll be fine. You know, I just hope we make a deep run, and he's blessing us to make a deep run in these playoffs, and we can get it done for him.
Devin, hey, it's your first play right now. Make a play.
After a tough, hard-luck season a year ago, Jason Jewell has his Brophy Broncos back in the playoffs. But his biggest fan, his dad, Kent Jewell, isn't around to enjoy the ride. He passed away last July in his hometown of Kansas City.
Dad was in poor health for quite a few years before he passed away, and his goal 2 seasons ago was to make it to our game when we played Pinnacle. He lives in Kansas City here, and was never able to make it. Was never really able to get on an airplane, just health-wise, to make it. So, but my dad, every Saturday, you know, every Friday night, he was following. He was texting me after the game. He wanted to know how Charlie McGinnis was doing. He knew all the guys, even though he had never even met a single one of these players. He knew every one of them. He watched the live stream. If there wasn't a live stream, he was following on Max Preps. I mean, everything. He was, you know, looking at every newspaper article he could find, you know, everything. My dad was my number one fan. So we got to get him to bite.
Despite the emptiness, Jason still feels the presence of his dad.
It seems silly, but even, you know, last week at the end of the South Point game when it was close, I actually talking to my dad, like, you know, hoping he could look over us. So, yeah, it's tough, you know, just knowing that I can't pick up the phone anymore and call him. Come on, guys, killing ourselves. Let's go.
Jason is dedicating this playoff season in memory of his dad.
I know my dad was proud of me. Like I said, he's my number one fan. But yeah, I want to make my dad proud.
In football, you got to have a heart. You got to have passion. You got to have energy. And you got to have a certain level of guts that most people don't have.
Steve Campbell has coached Williamsfield High School to 2 state championship titles.
All right, here we go.
He has his Blackhawks back in the playoffs yet again. But his dad, Gary Campbell, a legendary high school football coach at Norco High in California, isn't around to witness the journey.
Let's wire it in. Come on, let's go, baby. Go get it now. Let's go.
He passed away February 11th in Payson.
I'm a coach's son. You know, he coached for 35 years or something like that, 33 at Norco, and So, this was around my whole life. I mean, when I was a little kid, I was from 5 years old, I was the ball boy on the sidelines.
Everything we talked about all week long, we just did the complete opposite of that. I don't care that we scored.
Summer practices, being there and just lived on the field with them, and that was kind of our, one of our connections. It was, go to football with Dad.
Triple negative, bad decision, bad timing, it's a bad finish. I might just give you 4 negatives.
Steve still has his moments when missing Dad hits home.
There's always moments. The first moment of the year this year was tough. On my lanyard, I had great tape for my mom. She died of brain cancer, and she passed away about 10 years ago during the season. So this year I put next to it, I put some white tape on it because back in my dad's day, he did all the taping. The trainer, he'd jump up there and ripping through, and he used white athletic tape for every single household product you could possibly think of, right? There's still stuff up at his house, and I'm up like, there you go, there's some, and he would store it. He didn't realize that the stickiness wore off, right? So to me, that was like going out for the first time without him stuff, and putting that on my lanyard.
And his storytelling is just as great as his quick picks record. So maybe that means he's coming for you, Spurge. But stick with us. When we come back, we'll have our social spotlight segment with Eliav. Goodbye. What's up? Welcome back to Bleacher Talk. I'm Claudia Collins, Jordan Spurgeon here. And as promised, we have Eliav Goodbye for our social spotlight segment. He's going to jump right into the playoff madness, I guess.
Yeah, it's been playoff madness. But before we get into that part of it, Arizona won in a couple ways when the Cardinals beat the Falcons because, of course, South Point Catholic's Bijan Robinson got himself 22 carries, 95 yards, and a tutty. Our guy Jordan Ham was there for. And then also Jordy posted highlights of Bijan back in South Point. And oh my God, I wish I could have seen that with my own eyes. I mean, come on, Spurge. Did you see those? It's unreal. This guy, I mean, it's not surprising, of course, to see where he's gotten.
Yeah, the highlights are crazy. I know he predates all of us covering Arizona high school football. We just missed watching him, but everyone that I've seen, they pretty much say he's the best high school football player they've seen as far as big playability out here in this state. And that's saying a lot with all the guys we've had in college football and in big games on Sunday. So Bijan's exciting and good to see the Falcons giving him more carries. I know that's been kind of a topic of discussion this year with how they've been using him, but he's showing why you give him the ball, he's going to make plays, and he got to do it in his home state, which is always really cool.
And we'll keep it rolling. Thanks to Gridiron Arizona for posting this. ALA Gilbert North has gone from 3A to 4A to 5A with this group of seniors taking a final walk on their home field. Claudia, it doesn't get better than that for the group of seniors there.
No, and what an accomplishment for those seniors. I think it says a lot about the way that they've led their team and led their class, and the underclassmen below them have a lot to thank them for, because it really is those guys that really have propelled getting them to the next level. Obviously, you think of guys like Brandon Phelps, Titan Slade, guys that were really impact players through last season to get them to their first state title win. So just a lot of accomplishment for that group of guys, and congratulations to all the seniors that will be graduating in a few weeks here.
That's right. That's right. And of course, we can't go anywhere without shouting out our all academic fall teams. If you know a student athlete who deserves to be recognized for their work in the classroom, please nominate them on sports360az.com. Spurge, we can't talk enough about how crucial this is. And honestly, it looks great on a resume too.
Yeah, it's one of the coolest things I think we do here at Sports 360 AZ. Everyone gets recognized. And, I can't tell you how many people and parents have come up to any of us at big events and just say, oh, it was really cool. Like, our daughter in volleyball got recognized for this, and our football player, he might not have played much this year, but he had a 4.2, and it's cool to see his name on a list. And so everybody that does great work in the classroom and has great GPAs and is a standout kid, like, they deserve to be honored in any way they can. So it's cool that we do that. And Eliav, I know you're kind of behind the scenes making that happen. I don't know if you wanted that known or not, but you're out there running away. But it's something that's super rewarding and fulfilling. So it's always great to see.
Yeah.
And a reminder And a reminder to nominate your student athletes to be a part of this, because without your nominations, we can't always make sure that we cover all ground, and we want this list to be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's all I got, but make sure you nominate your people.
Eliav, great social spotlight as always. Thanks for joining us today. Great games coming up this week. We'll have more from Bleacher Talk next week. We'll see you then.